Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cow Corner Dugout. It's 11 p.m. yet again, Friday night, and here we are. We're talking about tonight's game, which is GT versus KKR. Right now, it looks like a no contest with the way things have panned out for Kolkata Knight Riders. Unfortunately, 180 not enough, and right now GT just require 13 runs in what 2.5 overs. So there's no way that Kolkata Knight Riders are going to win this until GT are going to show us how to bottle. But that's not going to happen right now. Sharing, of course, space on this podcast are the usual suspects. Welcoming Nirav Ghosh and Trinay Surendranath. Hi, Trinay. Hi, Nirav.
Hello.
Hello, young man.
I like the fact that you included
Yes.
me in that list of young men.
Uh, you're both
Steve
younger than
Bhai
me, so I can.
says still waiting for a good game. Yeah, I think we've got a series of one-sided contests, and we're waiting for a good game to happen. Maybe tomorrow we have a Kaveri weekend. RCB takes on the afternoon game. CSK
Delhi
plays. RCB takes on
Sunrises.
Delhi.
Delhi. Yeah.
Delhi here in Bangalore, and CSK is in Hyderabad playing the Sunrisers later in the evening. So it's a power-packed weekend. But yes, that said, today's game. I mean, like if I were to pick talking points or narratives, what are KKR basically doing in this IPL? It looks like KKR and MI are making this to an eight-team IPL.
Okay, so on that note, I'm bringing up the talking points for today so that we are a little more organized. So my first talking point is basically KKR are shit. And even when they do some things right, it goes wrong. My second talking point is Gil goes orange. The Prince missed out on 100 today, but the question is he knocking on enough doors for national recognition? And will he be able to hold on to the orange cap for this weekend? The third point is Green's ball quota. So I have this theory that Cricket Australia have allowed him a maximum number of balls, which now I believe is 60. Because when he bats 55 balls, he doesn't bowl. So there is something to this theory. Let's brainstorm on this and figure out why can't he be an all-rounder? And on that note, we have some things on discussions on why KKR got him as a replacement for Andre Russell, perhaps. The fourth talking point is what's with Rashid Khan. He seemed to be coming into some form for the last two games, but Green took him down good and proper today. The fifth point, which we've already broached upon, why aren't there any close games anymore? This has been another one-sided, fairly boring game. And 25 games in, where are the thrillers? And I demand a super over. The sixth point is yes, it is a blockbuster weekend. All eight teams who didn't play today will be obviously in the mix tomorrow and day after. And I, for one, am excited for the prospect of some good cricketing action. So, on that note, shall we begin with discussing why KKR are shit?
Yep.
Yeah, all right, let's go. KKR are shit. That's the statement.
KKR today won the toss and decided to bat, right? And while I think the only way to bat in these conditions where there's considerable dew is that you score way above par. And I think KKR has to ask themselves where are those extra runs going to come from? Well, it's good that Cam Green, got back to form, but that was also because Cam Green was almost like an opener today. He played in the power play. That is his preferred position for Cricket Australia. And luckily, you had Rahane get out quickly, and you had Ankush Raghuvanshi also get out. As a result,
You
Cam
shouldn't
Green.
you say luckily you had them get out.
Yes, I mean that's the only way. How else are they going to discover that Cam Green can be used in the power play? Because they've slotted him at number 4 or number 6, and it
Uh-huh.
probably isn't his right fit. And if Cam Green was to be the replacement that they spent so much money on for somebody like an Andre Russell, Trinay has a bunch of numbers that we will go through a little later, and as we have this conversation. But I somehow do not think that KKR have really put a lot of thought into how is it that their opening combination, for example, a simple thing would have been to knock off these Kiwis, which is to really knock Tim Seifert and to also knock off Finn Allen. They aren't. I mean, Tim Seifert anyway played today, but not of much note. It's tough to expect somebody to come firing the first the thing that you play. But I think if Cam Green was to open, and that was the conversation we had last time, if Cam Green opens, is that the best way they can at least have a batter? Because if he bats 60 balls, I'm looking at a Quinton Deacock like performance from somebody like Cam Green, like yesterday. But KKR still have to make rest of the six batters bat, and it was abysmal. What's happened to Rinku Singh? It's like Rinku Singh is suddenly, even though he's got a good point of entry, and Rinku's been batting, I think, in the like 10th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th over. It's not like he's batted the 17th over. He's coming in early, much early, because the Kolkata batting is not, they're losing wickets. Despite getting enough resources to bat, Rinku's had a pretty bad year. So I think it's just an unfortunate time for Kolkata Knight Riders.
Rinku has
He's
spent.
one of Roy and FM, which says a lot.
Sorry,
Sorry,
are you
Kavali.
saying something, Pranay? Your voice is not very clear. It's either very loud or it's very.
No, they sent Anukul Roy ahead of him, which says a lot, doesn't it? On the
No,
terms
they
of faith
didn't.
and trust.
He
Yes, they
went.
did.
He came in
Yeah,
before
they
Anukul,
did.
right? He
After
did.
Rahman
Anukul
Powell
Roy
came
went there
Anukul
before,
Roy,
Oh, okay.
and after that
That's
only
six.
came in.
and Roy
So
still scored.
Rinku has spent the period between the two IPLs, 25 and 26, sitting on the bench for India. Maybe he's just not used to getting batting.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
mean, the
sure he's
only
played
I remember him playing one ball in some, was it the Asia Cup
Asia Cup
final,
final, the Asia Cup
where he came
final,
and hit the winning run. That was the
and he's
one
in
ball he got to
Boston.
play because
Yeah.
Hardik didn't play that game. But
Green
that's it.
hasn't
He's
played
not
much
played
cricket
again.
either. He's been injured for the most of last year,
Okay.
and
But
he's
Green
And
was
batting.
also,
there in the. I mean, Green opened the
India,
batting in the T20 World Cup.
which one?
There
Yeah,
was a couple
Cameron
of
Green.
matches at West, right? Australia played 4 matches and then they were out. Not much,
Yeah,
and
all
he
of us
didn't
only
score any
remember the
runs there
Australia
because he was
Zimbabwe and the Australia
Yeah.
Sri Lanka game, the washed out campaign. But let's come to the fact about KKR's batting being shit. But while Cam Green came good today, I thought, Trinay, why don't you just show us some numbers? And I have a few questions. It's an interesting argument to see where is Cam Green's utility. Are KKR using him well? Let me just
Yeah,
put
so
that
I'll
out.
bring up the
Oh,
slide.
sorry,
Yeah,
let me
one
just put
second.
that out here. Yeah, and in this particular graph, we're basically seeing a strike rate and average.
Yeah,
And this is exactly KKR's lower middle order. That's wanting to take strike. Ramandeep's 20 at 150. Not great for somebody who's coming in so low. I would expect a slightly higher strike rate. Their all-time finisher, which is Dre Russ, averages 27 and strikes at 175. That's probably like a great benchmark that you have. But all of their other batters who are right now on the current side, which is Powell, Rinku, and Green, who are batting in the middle order, strike at 150 or less. But they're averaging higher. And I think Green's average is largely made up from his years with RCB, where I think he was able to bat at the top of the order. And I think if Trinay, if I'm right, these numbers are their IPL numbers, right? Not necessarily
yes.
their KKR numbers.
Yeah, these are their all-time IPL numbers. Russell, obviously, most of it is KKR, but this includes Green's numbers for RCB and for MI as well. And the average, just a point on the average that you said, it isn't all that great. You're comparing it with finishers, guys who come in after the 12th or the 14th over. So his average isn't all that great, actually. It's 34 and a half, which ideally where he bats for the other franchises, he opens, he comes at number 4. It isn't all that great, which we'll come to a little later on this
Isn't
presentation.
35 a good IPL average?
That's what I was about to think, because you're batting, you only have 48 balls, just coming and scoring 30 runs. I think if you were to benchmark it amongst finishers, and that's how you probably have to see this, Trinay,
No, but
that if
Green
you
was never a
Green
finisher, right?
hasn't been a finisher for
he's
any
not a
other
finisher,
franchise.
that's essentially probably not the best way to look at that number. But I think what his argument was that um, Dreras, the strike rate that Dreras bats at and the strike rate that Green operates at is probably
Mhm.
not the same as a finisher. And Green obviously strikes at a much lower strike rate for Kolkata because he's batting in the middle overs. So while I'm sure that the data requires a lot more context, but I think the point here is Green is nowhere near
No, but okay. But my point is that 35 is actually a good strike rate, a good career average.
average.
It's so if you look at guys like Rohit Sharma, Yashasvi Jaiswal, those kind of guys are in the 34, 35 range as far as I remember. Rohit may have dropped off a bit. Uh, So, I mean, you'd think of Yashasvi as a great batter over the last 5 years, right? He averages only around 35. So, given that scenario, I think 35 is a decent number. I think, so you look at guys like Padikkal and those kind of guys. I mean, obviously not the 8 year, guys who are above that, like, Virats and Warner and those kind of guys. But definitely, I think 35 is a good number for a top order batter. Is a decent number. I mean, this
Fair enough.
merits a
That,
longer career.
right. I think, yeah. As for a top order bat, that number, that average is fair, because I think in terms of landmarks, T20 landmarks are 30 plus, right, as opposed to the 50s and hundreds. So that way, I think it's a fairly good average.
For
And
example, it's not it's higher than a Rajat Patidar and Shreyas Iyer number.
absolutely. And I
So
think these things
there
have to
you
be benchmarked with other middle over batters for us to get a little more context. But yeah, leaving that particular narrative aside, is Cam Green the right, buy for them, given that he was expected to fill the shoes of, somebody like Dre Russ, and somebody like Dre Russ had, a far better, ability to hit. And yeah, I think that's the question on this particular slide. Trinay, what are you basically trying to say? Are you trying to say that Dre Russ averaged much higher as he came down lower in the order in his batting position? Those numbers N5, N6, 7, 8 are probably the batting positions.
Yeah, they are. It isn't trying to signify the average as much. We're looking at strike rate there. There's only one position, which is number 6, where he's averaged, struck at less than 150. And at number 6, he's still pretty close to that mark, which is what we're looking for in an elite finisher, right? He can do the job anywhere. And he bashes spin as well as pace. He strikes at nearly 200 against pace and closer to 150 against spin. So both his numbers are good there. He gives you a 1.7 sixes per game, and he can bowl as well.
I think this is the more important slide, that whenever Cam Green has batted at number 6 or number 7, his strike rates, are just marginally above 100, versus what you see with Dreras, where if he bats at number 6 and number 7, your strike rates, let's say, look at number 5, 6,
I
and
mean,
7,
wherever he bats, it's above 150. So
it's above 150. So I think on a batting standpoint, Cam Green is nowhere in the same league as Andre Russell. On the bowling standpoint, we're not even comparing, because Dre Russ was a far, far better bowler who was there. So I think this has to be like I think it's just a bad deal. KKR just got, probably this was the only option, and there was this buzz that everybody is going to go for Cam Green. And while CSK also put their hand into it, KKR probably went down a rabbit hole there.
Yeah, in
yeah,
conclusion,
but
to
it
put it in one
happens in these
sentence,
kind of it does happen in these kind of auctions, right?
The mini
That
auctions, right?
yeah. I mean, also the fact is that if I mean, who in the world can replace an Andre Russell apart from maybe like Hardik Pandya could be. Perhaps it's worthwhile comparing their numbers because it's also a substantial period of time, right? 10 seasons plus. Um, and I don't know. I don't know
point
if
is
if
they signed a
Hardik
different kind
comes,
of batsman to replace.
but they didn't have an option, right? Yeah. So Steve Bai's got a point, right? How replace Russell would end up in a 95% failure rate. There
But
is
we should
nobody
try looking at somebody who can
like
finish rather than
like.
somebody who's batted at the top for most of his career.
So I think they brought in Rovman as that finisher, um, who's well
No, I think it
suited.
looks like a slightly muddled strategy, because KKR for the last couple of years have gone spent 20 crores upwards for an all rounder, and they haven't got the results that they wanted, right? They got Venkatesh Iyer last year, fairly big buy. Then Venkatesh Iyer is sitting on the bench right now with Royal Challengers Bangalore. So I think that's the whole argument. How do you replace a guy like Andre Russell? And if you can't replace, at least are you thinking in the right direction with respect? So they're only. I'm just wondering if there was no other choice, or like did they just want to say that, okay, I have the money, let me just go for it? And while they've gone for it and made a good bid for him, saying I want this guy in my team, they've not given him the choice of position that was required of somebody like Cam Green, given his raw numbers that we're seeing batting at number 5 and 6. It's a point to ponder. As a fan, waiting to see your comments on how else can we interpret this particular data. Right now, I'm at a loss. But while we are talking about this, Gujarat Titans have nearly bottled this. 3 runs required of 4 balls.
Really? Wow.
3 runs required of 4 balls.
How,
So
how
they've
come Sami
lost
got out?
Glenn.
Glenn Phillips
Shubman,
went out.
Phillips is out.
No, Shubman went earlier.
yeah,
Glenn
yeah.
Phillips.
Phillips
So
is
Glenn
out. Yeah.
Phillips got out at the beginning of the 20th over, and here the 3 runs of 4 balls. So it's not yet over. They've taken this. I thought this could have been a good net run rate game, but that's not the case as
Yeah,
yet.
they got. Okay, well. Super over. I demand a super over.
It's in Ahmedabad.
What a, yeah, you know, Shah Rukh Khan coming in the 20th over to bat could have been avoided because it is always a flex when you win without having to use your impact sub, which is what Punjab did yesterday as well, right? So if your
Right,
impact
but
sub
I
never
think
has,
they have gone for the impact sub, haven't they?
yeah, so Shah Rukh Khan has come in, right, as the impact sub. It
Hmm.
would have been nice if he didn't have to, and that's a flex. I feel it's if you let people know
Correct.
that
It's like your
your 11 people were better than their 12.
12. It's like the T20I equivalent of hum follow on needing.
Ah,
So that's one more run. That's 2 runs required of 3 balls. Interestingly, Ramandeep is bowling.
I think that's my point. Is that so? Am I justified in believing that Cameron Green's ration is 60 balls, and because he had batted 55, he couldn't bowl one over? Is that a fair assumption, fair deduction?
No, I think
Could
from
be.
a workload standpoint, you may be right, right? That Cricket Australia is monitoring his workload because he spent 55 balls playing in the cauldron of heat in the Indian summer of Ahmedabad. Maybe they don't want him to exercise furthermore. But then what's the point of having a limited resource after paying like top dollar? And Cam Green, by the
I
way,
mean,
has not even come on the bowl today,
Here's a
right?
slight
So
tangent.
you had
I'm
you
just
can't
trying to. I'm just trying to check. He's from Perth. I'm just trying to check the Perth temperatures.
Scott.
I'm pretty sure. Um, I'm pretty sure most of the year it's hotter than Ahmedabad is. Apparently not. So yeah, it doesn't go much above 30, 32, 33.
I think in Australia
Okay,
because of
fair
the
enough.
ozone hole, right? That's anyway. Now they've won the game. Match is over. So Gujarat
Shah
Titans
Rukh has
have
finished. Shah Rukh Khan
finally
finishing the game for the first time.
go back home a little happy. More than Shahrukh finishing, Prasidh Krishna who scored those runs, right?
Huh?
Rashid was subbed out.
Wasn't it Prasidh who scored those runs?
No,
He was just subbed out, wasn't he?
Prasidh was subbed out and Shah Rukh came in.
Okay.
Shah Rukh came in as the batter. You're confused. You got confused?
Yeah.
Why will Prasidh come in as a number 7 batter? Right? Come on.
They might as well have subbed
Not number
Rashid.
7. I was looking at the scorecard at Cricket Info because I switched off the TV here, and the
Ah.
Cricket Info scorecard said Prasidh had scored those runs. So that's why.
Really?
Yeah,
No,
it's
Shah
a, it's a
Rukh has come in. Maybe
yeah. It says
I mean,
Ramandeep to Prasidh on Cricket Info, and since
oh,
my
wow.
TV is off, that's why I did
So they
not.
probably don't have a system in which they've replaced the substitute.
Right.
Their app
Right.
doesn't maybe allow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think it's a product change that needs to be done. Some of these things have to be planned out
That
in advance.
this is
But
this is embarrassing, man. That 4 years in they haven't done this.
exactly, this is not something which has been like a rule change that they
But
saw last year.
so it may be a manual guy who's actually typing it has forgotten to click something.
Yeah, ESPN is not very high on tech. I worked with ESPN Cricket Info, and
Okay.
it's a very editorially driven organization as opposed to tech. Very little product people there out there.
But
But
this
that's
text commentary is their first product. It dates like back to what nearly 30 years, I would imagine. That's the first thing. Live scores is the first thing they started, right?
right. They were the first ones to start it, and Crickbuzz came, I think, in 2004-5, and they figured out the tech. They were just faster, and that's how they went ahead. But Cricinfo has been doing this since the era of what 1994, 95 in those US
Yeah, I
universities.
remember 98 or 99, a few years before Trinay was born. I was overseas for some game. Was it the World Cup of 99? Yeah, possibly World Cup of 99. And I was following the scores on Cricinfo.
Was it okay?
So they had live scores and this text commentary and stuff. So that
I
far
think
back they've done it.
yeah, they've been there for a long while because in 2013 they were
Still not
celebrating.
corrected.
Still not corrected, right? 20 years of ESPN Cricket for being around, and I was there in that 20 years anniversary party. But yeah, they've been around since 1993 technically. But yes, that said, while that's fairly embarrassing that they couldn't update that, trying to now get to the next talking point. We've spoken on KKR being shit. We've spoken on Cam Green's position. What next?
That's
Wait,
is
one
the
more point
prince
on
in waiting.
before we
Yeah.
move on. Their auction strategy was also shit, isn't it? Because Livingston was in the same auction, and he is much more regarded as a finisher than Cam Green ever is or ever has been. He finishes most of England's games, or at least did until he had that big fight with Rob Key. His main position in the ODI setup and the T20 setup is that number six, number seven finisher,
But
and
he
he can
can't
bowl
bowl,
as
no?
well. He can, he can.
Yeah.
He bowls his offies to the
He
lefties
can't
and
no.
leg spin.
So the thing is, again, Andre Russell cannot be replaced because he also fires with the ball at the death, right? He's probably one of the elite level death bowlers as well over the years, right? I mean, they might have hoped that Cameron Green will fit in that spot. I guess I don't know, but he's definitely a quick bowler. I mean, Livingston is not. So I don't know. I don't know. They're thinking maybe
Livingston
there's
would also
something
have been the better buy, though.
subjective. Well,
He can fill
they would have.
maybe one of those. He can fill the finisher role to some extent. I'm not saying he will be anywhere as good as Russell, but he can do it better than Green. And Green doesn't give you the bowling either. He probably gives you one or two
No, but
down
I
the middle.
think right now their overseas batter to finish is Powell, and I think Green will have to. If Green they have to persist with, he'll have to pretty much end up opening at some point, which could happen next season. You might look at Ajinkya Rahane being let go of because if he's not adding value to the team as a, I mean, I love Ajinkya Rahane and I'm very grateful for what he's done for Indian cricket. But at this point, I don't think he's he's allowing that team to be better by his being a opener who then can't do anything beyond the power play. So even if he does well, you're hoping he gets out, right? As a team management, or you're best suited for him to get out. So I think that is a tricky situation. I mean, it's not true of it. Even guys like Rohit or whatever, right? That you if Rohit gets past the power plays on 50 odd, you are hoping he's getting 100 because he's going to up the tempo. Whereas Rahane is not doing that. Rahane is invariably starting off with potentially a 160, 170 strike rate at times, but the more he bats, the lower it goes.
Yeah, getting back to
Okay.
Shubman Gill. Yeah, Shubman Gill, the way he was timing some of the balls today, I remember that straight drive that he hit, and of course the usual horizontal bat pull shot. It looked like all even when he was at 70 or 40 balls, I thought he was heading to a quick 50 ball 100, given the way he was batting. But I think he's also serving a very timely reminder. It looked like he was batting with a certain swag. And the first question that came to my mind, and because you were at GT, is it that if you have so much of support staff around, like a head coach and stuff like that, does a captain not need to worry about the team and can actually focus on their own performance?
For the
Because
first
the
two
way
years, he wasn't the captain,
I know,
right?
I'm just generally saying for a batter captain.
And the third, I think by which time he was just used to delivering 600 runs. So there was never, in Ahmedabad, there was never a doubt that Gill will score runs, right? I mean, as a guy sitting in the, in the team dugout or not the dugout, but the, the camp, whatever, so to say, watching the game, there was never a doubt that he's going to score runs. In fact, there was never a doubt with Sai Sudarshan either. You were always assuming that these two guys, one of them will take it deep, 70, 80 to pakka hai ek taraf se. If Shubman doesn't get you, Sai will. And the nice thing is, which even in today's slam bang power hitting mode, these guys don't ever bash the ball, and that's beautiful to watch. Honestly, they got to 12 runs and over in the power play without seeming to hit a hard shot, but yet there were 4 5 6s, 71 for 2 in 71 for 1 in the power play without. So they're going and they blocked out a Sunil Narayan over, right? This included that. Despite that, it's just comfortably 10 12 runs and over. So they just look good scoring runs, which is nice also. It's uh, I don't know, 200 plus strike rate still yet, nevertheless, right?
Yeah, and I like the way they were able to take the spinner on today. Like as soon as um, Anukul Roy came, and for some reason the commentators, the way they pronounce Anukul Roy, I listened to it as Uncool Roy, but that's how they were pronouncing it. But I like the way they went after Anukul Roy, and just looked like it was a very different wicket. It wasn't the same bowler at all. Anukul Roy in Chepauk was pretty tough to get away. Ball was turning square, but here none of that, and they were able to get under him. And even with Sunil Narine, the moment he came back, Shubman Gill was very easily able to take them on. And yeah, I think while I'm happy seeing Shubman Gill play the shots that he is. I'm just hoping to see over the 14 match, streak, how are his performances across different venues. Because yesterday when I saw Shreyas Iyer batting yesterday in Mumbai as well as at Chepauk on the 7th or 8th of April, I've seen that he's able to score across different venues, and he looks like ready leadership candidate middle order for India. So Shubman Gill is he? I mean, are both of them, Shubman Gill and Shreyas Iyer, staking a claim back to the Indian team in their respective slots? That's a question for us to examine and see. But did you get that feeling?
Shreyas, Shreyas Iyer, I think, is still an anomaly because as you're saying, he's scoring runs everywhere. In fact, one of the things I wanted to bring up, and maybe we can do a study on that, is how dominant certain people are at one venue, right? So obviously, Kohli at Chinnaswamy, David Warner over the years at Hyderabad, Shubman Gill whatever. And I want to study that and see how they actually fare outside venues. So guys who've been around the block in a way, like 3, 4 years in one team, have they been able to cash in? Because Shreyas Iyer at the end of it has three home grounds. So Mohali, Malampur, and Dharmshala, right? So he's not ever going to, even if he stays the rest of his career in PBKS, he's never going to have one solid record in one home ground,
Right.
the way Shubman Gill or Virat have an option to. So I'd like to do that study, or how these guys are actually, who are the best batters home and away, or how or per venue, like who masters one venue.
I think we can take the list of the top 30, the last 7 8 years, the list of the top 30 batters by
29.
runs, and then look at their runs in venues that are their popular IPL venues.
Mm.
That said, what did you guys think about Rashid Khan? Because today, someone like Rashid Khan, I thought that Rashid Khan was slowly coming back to what is like his peak T20 form in the IPL. Because I've seen Rashid Khan lose his way a bit. As far as the 2023 IPL was concerned, Rashid Khan, it was his most productive season, strike rate of 14.8. Then came back with that surgery, 26.2 strike rate, 8.4 runs and over. That was 24, which is also people became a little more aware with the impact player. And then it went one level completely deeper, where he started taking a wicket once every 37 balls, going at nearly 9.5 runs and over. This year, we've seen that he's scaled that back, 7.7 and over, a wicket every 18 balls. Looked like Rashid Khan of the old was looking to get back, and then we saw that today he was just being taken apart by Cameron Green. What did you guys think of that? Did you think that, hey man, the Rashid Khan flavor that was there in 22 23 is not going to come back so soon?
I have 2 points on that. Um, Nirav can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel if you bring him in the sixth or seventh over, that's when he is best used because you're using him to take on the batsmen who've just had a good power play, or that's when he has his best numbers. I don't have a graph or anything. This is just something I've gone over the numbers and I can tell you this. If his first over is after the eighth or the 10th over, his numbers decline drastically because then he's bowling one or two at the death, which he is not as suited to as bowling an extra one earlier on, even in the power play. And today they let Powell and Green get set when they bowled Ashok and Prashid. You already had your power play taken over by Siraj and Rabada. They bowled three each, which was good. But then I feel they should have brought on Rashid straight away. I don't think Green or Powell would have gotten off if they had to face him so early on. But what do you guys think about that?
That's a number that you are throwing at us, which we have no clue about. I haven't even noticed this pattern. But as we are speaking, I've just queried that on Claude because I have the IPL data set. Hopefully, by the
So
time we finish it, we have an answer. I will give you a statistical answer. But yes,
okay.
Nirav, you had a point.
So in the list of, I don't know if it's true, but I believe it to be true. So I'm saying not using statistical data. Rashid doesn't like bowling in the power play, right? Is that a fair? And he probably very unlikely to come in the over 5 and 6. So Trina is right that he usually the moment the power play is over, he's got a point out in the boundary, a mid wicket out in the boundary, a long on long off. Give me the ball, right? And then pretty much either he runs. I mean, in the next 8 overs or 10 overs, he's bowling his four. So he's 7 to 16. He's finishing. Um, Today was unusual in the sense that in other games, Rabada and Siraj will not be bowling 6 overs. Today there was obviously a swing on offer. Both were getting it. Both the first 6 overs there was swing all the way through. Prasid's first ball swung a lot, right? Which was the first ball of the seventh over. So I think the fact that there was swing, they were trying to get greedy and push it a bit because 37 for 3 in the power play, and your best bowler then has an option to come in. So I think there was a, and because that over also went so, it wasn't bad in the sense that as far as I remember, 1 6 and that's it, right? Powell hit a six, but it was probably not more than 8 or 9 from memory. I think same thing happened in the next over. Then they gave Ashok an over, and I think maybe so Powell hit a 6 and a 4, so that would have gone for 11 over. There were 3 dot balls in both overs. Is my point, right? That so I think they extended that fast bowling option as long as possible. Get them keep the ball new and hard, and get the advantage of whatever you could. And when they didn't, then they turned to Rashid.
You're right.
Um,
10 overs.
so
They had, think,
it's
Ashok, Prasid, Siraj, and Ravada bowled 10 overs before Rashid Khan came in. Rashid, I think,
Rashid,
only
I think,
bowled
bowled the 10th over. Bowled the
10th
10th
over,
over.
right? Yeah.
So it's okay. Sometimes you try some things which don't work. Maybe they felt they can get. Cameron Green struggled for his first 30 runs. Let's be honest,
Right.
right? He was I think 29 of 29 till he hit Rashid for a six. It's one of those things where you feel that Prasid can get Cameron Green out. Uh, and I don't know what matchups they were going with, but sometimes there's a gut feeling which also is there because in this case, I think the strategic timeout was taken right after the power play at 6 overs. So maybe Ashish Nehra would have told them कि यार ball fast bowler चल रहा है चलाओ जितना चला सकते right? And एक और wicket लेते हैं तो I think they believed that if they broke that partnership, it was over. And honestly, that's fairly true. I mean, because 120 for 4 became 140 for 6 or 8 or whatever, right? And then there was a little bit of a resurgence at the back.
See, to add on
Neerav,
to
are you
that,
seeing Trinidad screen frozen or how's it?
No,
Trinidad,
no,
it's fine? Okay.
it's fine. It's fine. I think Karthik, yours might be.
I'll just shift my Wi Fi while you guys speak.
All right. Trine, go.
yeah, adding on to that point, you are right. He did take down Rashid pretty much when he came. But before that, Rashid bowled an over to Green where he got hit for 2 boundaries. Green hit one very scrappy one over mid wicket, which was 1 bounce 4. Absolutely no timing, just power. So I feel he was able to get away to the pace, get the paces off, get some form, get set, and then take on Rashid, which I feel he shouldn't be used there. You should be bringing him on when he's not, when the
But
batters are not
even
set.
at 29 of 29, you're not saying that he's set, right? And
But he's
and at
struggling
that
at that
point,
point, right?
he was struggling to the fast bowlers, right? So why would you not? I mean, he was looking like he'd get out. It's just because he's a big guy and he can hit those big sixes. And Modi Stadium is a place where you can hit through the line. That's why he got away. Like so, and literally, it was. I mean, if you actually see his last 15 balls, he scored 9 runs. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, he. So that is also a stat, right? So apart from that middle phase where he went, 4 6s, 5 6s in 10, 12 balls, he struggled to his first 30 balls and his last 15 balls. 45 of the 55 balls he's played contributed for less than a run a ball. It's his runs came in the other 10, which came off Rashid. It happens. So is it Rashid or would any bowler have gone at that point? Would any bowler in the 13th, 14th, 15th over have gone? Which also happened, right? I mean, I think the other side also, he hit Ashok Sharma for a couple of sixes as well at that point.
Yeah, it was a 19-run Ashok Sharma over. But I think it also came because they had already gone consolidated because they had a very slow start, 45 odd in the 36 in the power play. So I think because of that consolidation, at the 11th over mark or 10th over mark, they had to go for runs It just so happened that the next 4 or 5 overs, a lot of runs started leaking, and then Gujarat found their way back, clawed it, and then reduced, the potential, the target could go to. But I think generally in the 13th over, if teams have had a very good power play, teams slow down. Here, because they've had a very slow power play, the consolidation was done. They decided to attack. So I don't think you're able to generalize the 13th over. It depends on events preceding it.
Fair enough. I felt that any at that point anybody could have gone, and it so happened that Rashid and I mean and Shubman I think was smart in saying that okay, if it is Rashid, let's pull him back and put back pace on the ball. And the pace on the ball got them wickets. Maybe not Cameron Green, but from the other end they were getting wickets. So I think they went fairly quickly down to 8 wickets, and then had to bring Rashid in the last over, and Cameron Green didn't strike him there, right? 1-4, nothing much to, off 6 balls. He played all 6 balls. So, given that scenario, then, yeah.
Right, and I think as we speak, I've just got some numbers for Rashid Khan. I think he has bowled in the power play, but I'm assuming the numbers aren't too high. But
Okay.
in the
I'm saying he doesn't enjoy bowling in the power play. He prefers not to. So those are situations where it might be skewed because the batting team is doing well. So they've been forced to bring him in, right? If all things being equal, Rashid will not bowl. If it's a 50-60 run power play, he will not bowl in the six.
His ideal entry point is the 7th over, right?
Yeah.
You want him to bowl his first in the 7th.
Yeah. So he was usually 7-9 and then 13-15. That would, or 12-14. That used to be the stock Rashid Khan progression. Obviously, there are exceptions, and it mattered whether it was Noor or who was the other bowler on the other end in those years. But by and large, that's his, and that's true of his period in the Sunrisers as well.
I think those were his golden years from 2017 to 22.
17 to 23.
23. Are you seeing the screen right now?
No.
No, is it? Okay, I thought I had shared the screen. Because okay. I don't know why the screen isn't.
I'm adding it. I'm adding it. 1 second. Oh, it's taken off.
Okay, let me go back again and share this.
Yeah, just up.
Yeah, on Rashid, I think when he had his 2 really bad years, they were using him a little later on. His first over would be at the 9th or the 11th at times, and they'd give him an over or 2 at the death. Yeah.
Is my screen visible now?
Yes.
Sure.
It is, right?
Zoom it up a bit.
Yeah.
Zoom it up a bit.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Rashid Khan over the last 4-5 years. If you look at his middle overs, right, while we're talking about his middle over entry point, the number of runs that Rashid Khan has started to give in the middle overs from 2022 has steadily been on the increase. 6.52, 7.76, 8.19, 9.12. So he has been, in an increasing tangent. And at the depth, even there, somebody like Rashid Khan is being taken apart. So I think he's having a pretty tough year in the light of the impact player coming. Interestingly, his average runs given in the power play is less. So it looks like Rashid Khan for Gujarat Titans. I'll have to see how many overs is this based out on.
I think it's not too many.
Not too many. That's why it shows a very different, graph in terms of wickets and strike rate.
So in 22, in that year, the 22 year, I think every alternate, or maybe if there were 14 games plus qualifier and final, 16 games, I would imagine about 8 times he bowled the 6th over.
Right, and I think
but
I have
not in 23. Not in 23. 23 new red cup.
No. Let me see if I have the over by over. So this is Rashid Khan's over by over map, which talks about the number of overs bowled and the run rate. Is this clear? Is this clear?
There you go. So in 23 he bowled just 1 over in the power play, in 4th over, right?
He's never bowled over 1, 2, 3. He's only bowled 1 over.
Bowled 4th, yeah.
I think for 17 runs, right? Yeah, 17 runs. And if you look at when he's come in the 7th over, so the number of overs he's bowled maximum in the middle overs has actually been over number 8. Similar, I think over 6, 7, 8, and 9 have been fairly, used. So looks like these are his preferred point of entries. And as he comes later on, right, you see that the number of runs they score in the middle overs after the 10th over, it looks like people are hitting Rashid Khan, especially if he's coming at that point, because they are choked by then and they want a release. And Rashid, unfortunately, is the bowler, and he's started to be hit since the impact player. You see the heat map. Pre-impact player, nobody took risk of Rashid. After impact
Yeah.
player, this is the thing it has done to a bowler like Rashid Khan, where people have stopped fearing what can happen if
I think 23 was when his injury woes began. And
correct,
if
that was it.
memory serves me right, right after the final, he had his surgery. The day after, in fact, he was, if I remember correctly, or the Sunday after, the Sunday, the weekend after. He flew
Right,
straight from the final. As far as I remember, I think that was like don't have. I mean, it's
right,
something I don't have a clear memory on. So I think his back woes started then. 23, he got through that season somehow, and
right.
largely helped by the fact that it was a great Shami season as well. So there was always wickets with the new ball. So when he came in, he was impactful. There was Noor at the other end. I think if not 23 Noor or 24 was Noor, or both years. I can't
Cool
remember.
came in 23 because I remember watching him in the GT CSK
Yeah,
final.
Noor was there. And Mohit Sharma also had a great year, except for that final over.
But yeah,
One
very
of the remarkable things, right? All three of them ended up with the same, with 27 wickets.
whoa,
Shami, Mohit Sharma, and Rashid Khan. So Shami
27.
won the purple cap by by a small margin of average. All three had 27 wickets.
Amazing.
That's
You're
like
right.
an incredible year.
Incredible. Yeah, three of your
Bowling year.
bowlers are getting that much. Yeah. That's almost like 2 wickets a game, man. That's
So that
incredible.
was they were, and so that was the year they were bowling out oppositions, right? I mean, in fact, 22, 23 they were bowling out opposition.
That way, I think Gujarat has assembled a great unit of players as well as the coaching staff, and they've been able to get the job done amongst the newer franchisees. So great job done. CSK sold their soul for that tournament win. I don't know why does he say that.
23, I don't know.
It was a great win. I was there that night. A final
I
spread
was
over
there
3 days.
all 3 nights.
Same here, all 3 nights. And of course, you were inside the ground. I was at the with the fans.
No, I was on West Lounge. You would have been on the East, Hospitality East. I would have been on the
I was in the
Hospitality
Gujarat
West.
Titans lounge. I remember there was this
No,
Karnataka
you
player,
didn't.
Abhinav Manohar's
Yeah, family.
father,
Yeah.
David Miller's spouse. Or they were there in the
I,
same unit.
I didn't know you then, so I was probably there only. In and out of that. Yes.
Got it. So, so yeah, I think that was one point we wanted to speak on from Rashid Khan. Here we are at the points table right now. GT have now got 6 points from 5 games and are now moving up, being like the next cluster. They are technically the next cluster because 4 wins from 5 has been cluster one, and GT operates at a separate level, which is they are cluster two, and then come the other teams, which are cluster three. There's still DC there. We'll see what happens with the DC RCB game tomorrow. And yeah, if DC gets to win, they join Gujarat in a separate cluster two. But while they join Gujarat in that cluster two, they also increase the chances to pull RCB towards themselves in that cluster two. But RCB will still stay on 8 points even if DC win tomorrow. And of course, there is the other game, which is SRH versus CSK. Either of these teams will get into cluster two if either of them win. So yeah, Steve Bai says if we beat SRH tomorrow, we go fifth. Wow, that'll be some level of increase for CSK in a matter of a week. Huh? Last Friday they were 10th, and then they moved steadily up ninth, 8th. Right now, I'm just happy seeing that they're 8th, man. I'm like, they're not 10th at least. So, what were the other narrative points that you? I think we've covered quite a bit.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the fact that there are, I mean, I still think, personally, I think these are two clusters. There are teams which are winning, and I think GT is missed out because they bungled up one match, right, against DC, right? Um, s- no, sorry, it was the other way around. So they
Lucknow.
got a free point. Yeah.
Against
So no,
Lucknow.
no, sorry.
Yeah.
David Miller, I
Right.
just in my I didn't do the calculation right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it could very well have been DC winning two more games, which both the games they should have won. I feel
Right.
so. It's one of those things. But apart from that, these top three teams are one cluster. They are going through pretty much unscathed, right? And it's down to who can get their act together in time and put together. The thing with GT is that you see they are on now, two reds and three greens, right? That also matters, right? If are you getting in? Are you stringing together some good results? MI is, gone what they reverse of what they normally do. Started off with a green, and CSK is also getting putting together the string of two greens. So
Right.
the team which worries me is DC because both those two reds should have been greens, right?
I agree.
So the how do they come back because they've had a bit of a break. I think they've had a longish break this week. When was their last game?
Their last game was, I think, versus
On the
CSK.
weekend, I think.
Yeah, versus CSK.
Yeah, so that was last Saturday. So they've got pretty much the whole week, right? So is that week enough to get out of this rut which you are in? Because the I think the first raid was DC's first raid was that David Miller thing, and
Yes.
then the second raid was against CSK. Again, a
CSK.
match which they could have got through, but somehow didn't.
Damn, if they had
Um,
won, just imagine, right? Your top four would have been all
yeah,
teams with red jerseys. I think
wow,
pink
okay,
being a variation of red. It would have been the Red Alliance on the top.
yeah. So now can DC get it together psychologically? I think these are psychological things, right? Can they? Because obviously they're good enough to be here. I mean, in the
Absolutely.
top four, but one more red against, and again they've got the toughest challenge playing on a Saturday afternoon in Chinnaswamy, right, against the red hot team. So can they put it together? Um, if they can, then they are title contenders.
See, I think there's
I
three
like.
clusters, not two. Uh, the top three, you could include GT in this if you want to, who have everything sorted. They know what their best playing 11 is. They have a minimal number of injuries. Then you have, again, GT is a gray area here. Include
I
them
never
if you
said
want.
we had two clusters. I said the top three are one cluster because they have
One
four wins.
cluster.
Right? GT by itself is one cluster. The
No,
next,
I put in DC in there because see, yes, on the points table they're lower, but as terms, in terms of having, then they're not far away from the having dominated 4 games out of 4, according to me. Right?
They have a
So I would
match in
put
hand as well.
they have a match
okay,
in hand as well.
let's put
So
DC and
I'm
GT
saying
together.
these they have a better team. I mean, and again, their 11s are sorted, right?
Yeah.
And CSK is getting there because the CSK's 11 is now a
But I'll
function
put
of
SRH, LSG, and CSK in the third cluster. And in case you just want to make a fourth cluster for the heck of it, yes, MI and KKR from an
yeah.
inclusivity standpoint.
KKR is in a league of its own right now.
MI is not as
I
bad
mean,
as
I
KK.
I don't see KKR finishing anything but 10th. Sadly, I
Yeah.
see there's a chance MI can not finish ninth. Is the way I mean, like let me put it that way.
Yeah.
But it's here we are. But the game that you're talking about tomorrow, let's just move to tomorrow's game, and that's an important game from a DC standpoint because they're playing a day game tomorrow, 3:30 p.m.
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
means that the effect of dew that will usually come with a toss might not be there. And I'm just curious to see if, let's say, DC bat first and they have a good total on board. Is there a way to go challenge RCB as a side? Because RCB have looked near invincible, except for that one game versus Rajasthan Royals where they lost in a chase, right? I think RR batted first in that game. Am I correct? It rained out 11 over
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah.
So, so yeah, I think one way to probably beat this juggernaut of RCB is that DC bat first. Wicket, is like baked in the hot sun, and it slows down towards the end. So you will not have the traditional conditions where RCB has a 50% advantage. Any team would, like for example, if you're chasing in dew. So you're not fighting that battle there. So I think DC that way, because they're a side that we believe have the goods, could be a good battle if actually you're not having a pitch, you're not having the due factor coming in. It gives them one less enemy to fight.
It's an afternoon game, right?
It's an afternoon
So
game.
So, I mean, I would still say chasing in Chinnaswamy is the option to go with. Um, DC's
Fairly.
got a fairly good set of new bowlers, right? I mean, the
Oh
new
yeah.
ball
Yes,
is on control.
make them
Mukesh
better.
and this man, Angidi, and the death end is covered with what's his name, Angidi and Natarajan, and they've got, I think, the best spin combo. So if they don't spinners don't get taken down, then they're in business.
So yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to is tomorrow to see how do DC structure it. I'm just gonna go sit in the morning, study the matchups, and see, oh man, what's the sub narrative that's gonna come, because RCB's been this super awesome side in the last couple of years under.
Yeah. So
Uh,
honestly, I mean, there was a time when the couple of captains have shared with me that the way to win an IPL is you have to beat CSK twice. That was true till 2023. I think 24 onwards, it's been to win the IPL, you have to beat RCB twice, not
yeah,
just once.
it's a
So
welcome change. Otherwise, league was
it
getting
is
fairly.
that's the narrative.
Yeah, it's a welcome change that way. Now it's so nice to see the Red Alliance actually come to the top, because these are sides that you used to take a joke on. Like RCB was a joke before 2020, but that's not
Yeah,
happening now. As a
you're
CSK
taking them
fan,
seriously.
you're taking them seriously, and they have a very very good side. And so that way, I think it's a good game to look forward to. I'm actually looking forward more to
So
the.
the one red side I can't take seriously is LSG. Sorry, but it's right.
I
Visually,
agree.
visually, eyesore aside, their uniforms and um, it's just I don't take that team seriously now. And
I think at
they're
some point
I
LSG will.
think they've also gotten out of jail. They could very well have been ninth.
Exactly, it's about to say that they will at some point join MI and KKR for the 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah,
While I
maybe the
think,
next game.
so that's where I'm seeing this points table going. But that said, let's have a quick round of predictions for the two games tomorrow. First one, LSG versus, sorry, RCB versus
RCB.
Delhi Capitals.
I really want to see Delhi Capitals win. I really want to see an exciting game and Delhi put it across because it is tough to beat RCB. So I want to see some teams doing it.
Right,
I
I
don't
think
want
it'll open
RCB
up.
to end up with 20 points.
Yeah, and as you said, I was just thinking about it. If we have like
It'll open
five
up
teams,
the table a bit. Yeah.
it'll open up the table a bit. And yeah, with respect to CSK and SRH, there's one interesting article that I read by one of the Hindu reporters called Ayan Acharya, where he interviewed Reddy. And I think ESPN also wrote an article on that, where I think we were joking earlier that what kind of an attack is Hyderabad if Nitish Reddy is opening the attack. But apparently
Hmm.
Nitish Reddy has, increased his speed by about 6 miles per hour. How much is that mathematically? 6 into 1.6, that's about 10 kilometers an
Hmm.
hour,
So from
Close to 50.
122 to 132.
somewhere around that. Yeah,
He's
that's
bowling. I mean, the first two games I noticed it. I mean, I checked his speeds. Um, he's been in the 132, 133 range at best.
yeah.
That's still
So
not
I
enough,
think
right? Unless you're a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar or a Sandy.
no,
Still
you
not
don't
enough.
have that kind of experience, right? Bhuvaneshwar Kumar or Sandy, at least no, they've been around for what, like 10 years, more than 10 years. So there's a lot of wealth of experience that comes with, bowling in the IPL under pressure. Nitish Reddy is fairly new, but I think that was a talking point that I had in terms of how Hyderabad are also getting their act together. And it's a side that is slowly trying to find its mix. They were a little lost in their opening games, but I think now Pat Cummins is also slated to, apparently he had to go back to Australia to do the test and then come back. I think he's on his way back and he's probably going to join them for the game, I think, next week, not right away. But that said, the priority, sorry, if you had to take a prediction on which team is going to win, SRH versus CSK, I'll start with Renee. What's your choice?
For the previous game, I hope, like Nirav, I hope DC will win. For this game, I think CSK is going to pip them. I'll go with CSK and DC.
Any different, Nirav?
Um, I think CSK is a better team than SRH. Believe it or
I
not.
I'm just going to go with both your choices. Yes, आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर. Even I want DC to win, and of course I want CSK to win. So it'll be interesting. It'll open up the table, but I'm not really sure CSK has that kind of a team that can actually challenge the top four. RCB definitely yes. I think they right now have a very very well assembled unit, and it's so interesting to see that somebody like Andy Flower or Mo Babat could just come in, put all of their processes from England, whatever transformed England as a white ball side, to a team like RCB. Same with Ricky Ponting, taken all of his cricketing nose to come. Whatever he did with Delhi to get them to a playoffs, he's now taken Punjab Kings to a final. So it's very interesting to see some of these modern day tech methods, which was supposed to have worked in the era of John Buchanan, but it didn't. I'm just trying to see that how things have changed over the years. What's interesting stat, CSK has not won at Upal since 2018.
Hmm.
Wasn't Buchanan the guy who wanted
And that was the year they beat SRH in the final.
Correct. Correct. They beat them four
Yes.
times. I think they beat them all the 4 times that they played.
Yeah.
Ergo, what I was saying earlier, to win an IPL trophy, you have to beat CSK twice. That
CSK
was
twice.
the that was the belief amongst IPL teams.
And most CSK fans had this tweet template saying that, hey, the IPL is a tournament of 8 teams where 6 teams or 7 teams are competing amongst themselves to play CSK in the final. And we used to flaunt it at every given opportunity, but we haven't got that in a while. I hope we getting there.
Not this cycle. CSK is not one of the top four teams this
Same here.
tournament.
Even I don't think they are a top
Not-
four
I
contending
mean,
side.
if if things are fair, then I don't think they'll make it.
No, I think the Red Alliance is actually my top four right now for the IPL. Red and Pink is probably these are my 5 teams, amongst which one of them will lose out. Punjab, RCB, Delhi, Rajasthan Royals, and which other team is that? Who else is there in the
Don't
Red
say
Alliance?
LSG.
Huh?
LSG is red.
No, they're like
So it's
they're
four
con-
red alliances and one wannabe MI blue. Let's put it this way. GT is GT. Basically.
So here we are at 12 midnight. We have 55 people. It's I think the IPL will warm up tomorrow. Tomorrow, okay. Steve Bhai says he has a very interesting top five. CSK, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. RCB. Wow, that's exactly how a CSK fan would lay out that argument. And I'm not talking anything more about CSK and RCB because there are people who actually complained about me to the police today because I said something about RCB. Somebody tagged the city commissioner saying, "Oh, catch this guy. He's a Bangalore guy. He's not supporting RCB. He's supporting CSK."
And y'all were
So,
praising Bangalore last night on call after stream.
sorry.
No, y'all were praising Bangalore and Bangalore people.
No, I don't think
Uh,
I've been critical at all. I've just been calling out some fight incident because I heard something from close quarters of what happened within the CSK family, in terms of women being heckled, and that's what I tweeted on. But I think people are misconstruing it as hate against Bangalore, the city, or Kannadigas, which is not the case at all. Uh, but yes, that's how sometimes mob mentality spreads. I'm just having popcorn fun looking at all the tweets and comments. There's no such thing called bad publicity. Mm. Nirvika Jain, and you actually said RCB was a joke today. Yeah, it was. It was a joke, right?
It was a
Back
joke. I mean,
they were.
it was a yeah till 2021 maybe.
Yeah, they had a very bad 21, and then they picked up their act.
no 2020 onwards from Mike Hessen, I think RCB at least went up till like the top five or top six. They were not like a 8, 9, 10 side at all. 20 they qualified. 21 they discovered the magic of Rajat Patidar but dropped him. Lavneet Sisodia's injury in 2022 got him and they qualified for 2022. 23, one Shubman Gill knock basically was the difference between RCB qualifying and not qualifying. But GT made it, RCB didn't. 24, they qualified out of like the most miraculous, escape 7 wins in 7 games. 25, they won the IPL. And here we are. They're topping the list here in the top five. Steve Boy says, so many impressions. You were all over my timeline. Yes, man. A lot of my friends were also saying that today. I think I've copped up easily 2 million impressions in the last 1 week or so on Twitter.
Impressive.
So yeah, So after COVID, they were a different gravy indeed. Yes, Nirbhikar, the RCB has been a very different team, and I've actually developed a lot of respect for their methods that RCB is
I think
employed.
2016 aside, I think the 2010s were a Red Alliance joke at the bottom, right? I mean, there was Punjab, Delhi, and RCB pretty much always 8, 9, 10, and 11 whenever there was an option.
But that said, here we are, 1 hour into our conversation. Not the most exciting day to go watch IPL. I think a lot of people have slept.
That
We
is
only got
subtle.
50 people.
That,
Uh, yeah, I mean, like we've just got 50 people on
it
us,
was a horribly boring game. Everybody, like, it was a snooze fest if Cameron Green hadn't hit those 4 sixes.
and that's
I
of
mean,
of course
KKR
a
played
result.
a 150 game. They played a 150 game and were lucky to get to 180. Let's put it this way.
And it reminded me of the way Dada used to treat the the Pune Warriors India. Like they made Dada captain, and then Dada was the captain, right? Pune
Yeah.
Warriors, and then he would, power them to 120, 130. They were happy with the 120, 130 totals back then. I was just thinking, and so, one of the Cricket Info journalists had tweeted that this Pune Warriors team actually costed more. 370 million was how much they paid Sahara. It costed more than the Chandrayaan mission at that point of time. So it was like a benchmark. So yeah, that said, here we are at the end of our post-match show. Do subscribe if you haven't yet to the Cow Corner Dugout. We're doing shows. We're also cutting some reels, and we're soon going to be on Spotify. I thought we were on Spotify, but it looks like we encountered some problems. We're going to be on Spotify by the end of the week. So if you're driving to work and you wanted to know what happened last week or yesterday's game, you're going to listen to us on Spotify too. But that's it. That's all from the three of us. Looking forward